You know, some family dramas are so intense, they literally change the world. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. This is the story of two sisters, Rachel and Leah. They were bound by blood, but totally divided by love. They were married to the same man, living under the same roof, and their incredibly personal, often painful rivalry, well, it would go on to shape the course of history and build an entire nation.
At the very heart of their story is something we can all relate to, right? It's that painful, universal human experience of comparison. They were trapped in it. Think about it. One sister was seen as beautiful and was absolutely beloved. The other, she was overlooked and felt deeply unloved. And while they were just struggling for affection, for some kind of identity in this messy situation, God was quietly working in the background, shaping history in a way no one could have predicted.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're going way back to ancient Haran. A guy named Jacob shows up, and he's not just on a casual trip. He's a fugitive, on the run from his brother Esau's fury. He arrives at a well, which was kind of the local meeting spot, and he's looking for his uncle, a man named Laban. And it's right there, at that well, that he sees his cousin Rachel for the very first time. And his life is about to change forever. And right away, the Bible sets up this contrast, this comparison between the two of them. It's almost brutal. Rachel is described as beautiful of form and appearance. Basically, she was a showstopper. But then you get to Leah, the older sister. It just says she had weak eyes. Now, scholars debate this, but it probably doesn't mean she was sick. It's more likely a way of saying her eyes just lacked the sparkle, the life that her younger sisters had. So from the very beginning, Leah's identity is tied to being second best. So Jacob is completely smitten with Rachel. I mean, head over heels. So when his uncle Laban asks him, "All right, what do you want for your wages?" Jacob makes this absolutely staggering offer. He says he'll work for 7 years. 7 years of hard, backbreaking labor, just for the right to marry Rachel. That's how much he wanted. And the text tells us something really beautiful here. It says, these 7 years seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. Think about that. We're talking 7 years of herding sheep, scorching sun, fighting off wild animals, sandstorms, the whole deal. And it all just flew by. That really tells you everything you need to know about the depth of his love for Rachel. All right, so fast forward. The 7 years are finally up. Jacob goes to Laban and says, "Okay, I've done my time. Give me my wife." Laban agrees and throws this huge wedding feast. Everyone's celebrating. But as night falls, Laban puts a pretty shady secret plan into motion. See, back then, wedding customs were different. The bride would be heavily veiled, and the whole ceremony would happen at night. So it was dark. And Laban, he totally takes advantage of this. He brings his older daughter, Leah, still hidden behind her veil, to the unsuspecting Jacob. And in the darkness, Jacob marries the wrong woman.
I mean, can you even imagine the shock the next morning when the sun comes up and he realizes what happened? Jacob immediately confronts Laban, furious. And the irony here is just wow. Jacob, whose very name means deceiver, the guy who tricked his own father to steal his brother's blessing, he just got deceived himself. Talk about a bitter taste of your own medicine. But Laban's response is so calculated. He basically says, hey, it's not our custom here to marry off the younger daughter before the firstborn. Then he lays out his deal. Jacob can have Rachel too, but it's going to cost him another 7 years of work. And Jacob, still just as in love with Rachel as ever, he agrees. So that's a grand total of 14 years of his life he works, all for her. So this sets up an incredibly painful, tense household. I mean, think about it. You've got two sisters, both married to the same guy. One is the love of his life, passionately adored. The other is just tolerated. Every single day for Leah is a constant, brutal reminder that she was the second choice, the trick. And she knows she'll probably never truly have her husband's heart. Well, the story says that the Lord sees that Leah is unloved, so he opens her womb, while Rachel, the beloved wife, remains barren. And this is where the rivalry just explodes into a full-blown war. And you can see it all in the names of their children. Look at Leah's first sons. Reuben means see, a son. It's like she's shouting, maybe now my husband will finally love me. Then comes Simeon, which means heard, because God heard she was unloved. Then Levi, attached, because she's still hoping Jacob will become attached to her. It's just this heartbreaking, desperate bid for his affection. And on the other side, a desperate Rachel gives her maid Bilhah to take up as a surrogate. And the names of her sons, Dan and Naphtali, reflect her own pain, her own sense of wrestling with God and with her sister. So picture this.
Leah has now had 3 sons. In that culture, this was the highest honor a woman could achieve. She's done everything right, but nothing's changed. Jacob still doesn't love her. She's still the overlooked wife. But then, her 4th son is born, and something inside of her finally, fundamentally shifts.
She names him Judah, and Judah means praise. And with that name, with that one single word, everything changes. Her focus is no longer on what she doesn't have. She's no longer trying to earn her husband's love, no longer measuring her worth by his affection. Instead, she turns her attention upward to the Lord, the one who had seen her and heard her this whole time.
And this is such a crucial point in the whole story, because it's through Judah, this son who was born out of a moment of praise, not desperation. It's through his line that the entire royal line of Israel comes. We're talking King David and eventually Jesus Christ himself, all descended from the unwanted, unloved wife. It's just staggering. But God didn't forget about Rachel. After all those years of waiting, of weeping, of wrestling with her own barrenness and jealousy, God heard her cries too. The Bible says he remembered Rachel and opened her womb, and she finally gave birth to a son of her own, Joseph, the very same Joseph who would, years later, save his entire family from a devastating famine. Okay, so this story is thousands of years old, right? But it feels so painfully modern. It brings up these questions and feelings that I think so many of us still grapple with in our own lives, just in different ways.
I mean, do you ever feel that way? Overlooked, unchosen, like you're always second best? Leah's story speaks right into that pain. God saw her when everyone else, including her own husband, just looked right past her. He heard her when she felt completely worthless. Her story is just this powerful reminder that our value isn't determined by who chooses us here on earth. It's determined by the one who created us.
You know, we really live in the ultimate age of comparison, don't we? The rivalry between these 2 sisters is like a cautionary tale, showing us exactly where that path leads. It leads to bitterness and misery. Leah had the children, Rachel had the love, and neither was happy because they each wanted what the other had. We see this exact same trap today, don't we? It's in the endless scroll of social media, it's in our careers, sometimes even in our own families. And Rachel's story is a huge reminder that the life that looks so perfect on the outside is often completely breaking apart on the inside.
So what's the way out? How do we escape this trap of comparison? Well, Leah's breakthrough is the key. She broke the cycle. She stopped looking horizontally, side to side at her sister Rachel, constantly trying to measure up and earn Jacob's love. And instead, she started looking vertically, up. She started praising God for what she had been given.
Let's be honest, this family was a mess. They were fractured, dysfunctional, and just deeply flawed. Jacob's blatant favoritism caused damage that echoed for generations. And yet, it was through this exact brokenness, this mess, that God built the foundation of his chosen people. It's such a powerful truth. Your life doesn't have to be perfect for God to do something amazing through it. So think about this. If God could build an entire nation from this one broken, rivalrous family, what can he build from your story? No matter how messy you feel, no matter how overlooked or broken your circumstances might seem, the core message of this story is that you are seen, you are heard, and there is a story being written that is so much bigger than your current pain, just like it was for these 2 sisters all those thousands of years ago.